When I first brought Mushu home from the animal shelter, he had some gnarly looking injuries on his head and severe separation anxiety. Whenever I needed to go to work, a struggle would ensue. As soon as I picked up my keys, he would dash over to the door and start whining. He would start crying whenever I would take a shower. We went through a few pairs of shoes that first month. He would hurt himself to prevent me from leaving, trying to lunge through the door. He would scratch at the door. He would destroy blinds. He chewed up blankets. And even when he was kenneled, he would find ways to destroy something. And I hate to admit it, I was at a point where I was considering to take him back. But he was also the sweetest boy, and I have severe anxiety myself. And so a part of me felt like I understood him, and I wanted to help him work through what he was facing. And so here is what we did. First, I raised all the blinds so he couldn't damage them anymore, and he could sit in his favorite spot all day. I was also worried that he was not getting enough exercise at first, and so we started going for much longer walks to tire him out in the morning before I would go to work. I started doing my research about how to address separation anxiety, and I've included some of what I found in the video description for you to check out. Then we started working on disconnecting Mushu's association with keys, my shoes, and showers, and me leaving. To do this, I would start to put my shoes on at random times during the day and just walk around the apartment or sit on the couch. I started taking showers at random times of the day when I knew I was not going to leave. I would also grab my keys and just walk around the apartment with them. And over time, Mushu became less panicked with those items. The next step was demonstrating to Mushu that I would always return to him. And to do this, I started to leave the apartment for short periods of time and then return. And so I would go away for 30 seconds and come back. And slowly I started to increase that amount of time that I spent away. I moved it to a minute, and then to 2 minutes, and then to the time it took me to go get the mail, and 3 minutes, and so on. And over time that helped Mushu associate me leaving with me not being gone forever. Because Mushu was causing damage and hurting himself, we started to work on crate training, which he of course hated at first. So to ease him into it, I started feeding him his treats in his crate and left his crate open for him when I was home. I would put a few articles of my clothing near his crate so he'd always be able to smell me, and I also put old clothing around the apartment so he could also smell me when I was away from him. I would also put him in his crate at bedtime and sleep next to him at first, so he got used to being close to him and him being comfortable in his crate. Fifth, we did try to use some of the anxiety-reducing and calming treat and toys that you can get for dogs. They definitely had a noticeable effect, even if it was kind of small. He would always get one treat in the morning before I was starting to get ready to work, and before I would leave, I would always provide Mushu with one of his favorite treats or toys. He especially loved his puzzle or a bone filled with peanut butter. And one of the things I highly recommend is getting a bone filled with peanut butter and freezing it a little bit so it's a little bit more difficult for him to get the stuff out. Of course, things did not change overnight. It took persistence and hard work, but a year later, Mushu's separation anxiety is much better, and it almost seems like it no longer exists. He now sleeps in his crate even when he doesn't have to. He doesn't run at the door when I'm about to leave, and frankly, I don't even know if he cares if I'm at home or not sometimes. And so if you have a dog with separation anxiety, stick with it. I hope this video has provided you some help and advice. If you have any other tips that you have for people who are struggling with a dog with separation anxiety, please leave them in the comments below.